Hey, and welcome to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast, a podcast for people who want to get no BS information about fitness and know that fitness is about so much more than losing scale weight. It's about feeling confident in your skin and empowered in your life. I'm your host, Turo Virta, personal trainer, strength and nutrition coach, and most of all, a husband of my beautiful wife, Miriam. Each week, my guests and me will give you some no BS fitness tips and motivate you to take action in your own personal fitness journey as we talk about nutrition, exercise, mindset, personal development, and executing in life with enjoyable but still effective strategies. If your goal is to look better, feel and be strong and experience transformation from inside out, you, my friend, are in the right place. Thank you for jumping in. And now let's jump into today's episode. So welcome back to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast, where we explore the fascinating world of health, fitness, and well-being. I'm your host, Turo Virta, and today we are going to bounce into a very special topic, trampoline training and its relationship with mental health. So we are privileged to have here Steve Carver, who is a personal trainer with over 30 years of experience, and with those over decade experience with trampoline training. And obviously, no need to mention that Steve is a specialist when it comes to trampoline training. So welcome to the show, Steve.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. So first, I wanted to talk a little bit about trampoline training. Like I did in the past myself. I was doing group coaching sessions with trampoline, and I was loving those workouts myself, and obviously my clients loved them. So, but can you tell a little bit to get to know you a little bit? So, how did you get started in this field?
Well, I got started in fitness by accident. Not really, technically. I mean, I was a youth athlete, started doing sports when I was very young, always loved the gym. There was a certain point in my life where I was in my one career was kind of came to an end, and I was in between jobs. And by a weird chance, I went to the gym every day because I had lots of time, and, you know, it's the best thing to do when you're got free time. And the gym owner said, "Hey, do you need a job?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm looking for one." He goes, "But in the interim, you want to come work at the gym?" And so by a funny quirk of circumstances, because I went to the gym at 5:00 in the morning, that I ended up working at a gym, and then I became a trainer, a floor trainer, and not knowing what I was doing. Then I went and got certified and the next thing I know, 20 years later, I run into, being a trainer to the stars, and I was traveling around the country. And as a result of that, I was on a TV show, and Jump Sport was the sponsor. Now, I had seen trampolines. My grandma had a trampoline. I loved big trampolines. I did gymnastics and loved trampoline training when I was at the gym. And they gave me this trampoline, and I looked at it and I thought, "Oh, it's just a trampoline, right? Okay, cool." And they're like, "No. We don't use springs anymore." I'm like, "Well, that's great, because the sound of those springs is really noisy and annoying, and all that squeaking." And I said, and they go, "And it's way more forgiving." I'm like, so they said, "It's more like a big trampoline." So I got on it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it really is. This is amazing. It's quiet. It's adjustable. I can make it harder for me and softer for somebody who's a little lighter." So it gave variability to the user I could do, and the same programming, and I could curtail it to somebody's fitness level. So if you were deconditioned or really conditioned, I could adjust some of the tensions to be able to accommodate different athletes. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I fell in love with it because I realized that it was way, way more than a trampoline. Mm-hmm. So because of the design of this product, it's curved legs, it has a very stable platform. Mm-hmm. Okay. And one of the things I noticed is that I had a lot of people that were, a little older, their knees hurt, their back hurt, whatever. But I would train them on the trampoline, and they'd be like, "Wow, I got a really great workout, and my body didn't hurt, my back didn't hurt, my knees weren't sore, blah, 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 blah." Come find out that using an accelerometer, we have proven that using a cord-based program, the Jump Sport trampolines, versus a spring-based trampoline, you're going to reduce the impact of the two units by 50%. Mm-hmm. So you can naturally develop sorry about the dog, devised that if you jump on the ground-based exercises, you're going to get more relief from that. So anywhere from, up to 80% ground reduction in impact due to ground-based exercises, right? And then the second benefit I saw with people is that they were always very happy on the trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
And I could never figure that out. And so I go to a friend of mine who deals with special needs children at UCLA. And they said, well, we love to use the trampolines for kids with auditory issues because it stimulates oxytocin, serotonin, and a bunch of other happy hormones that your body is instrumental in keeping you happy or joyful in whatever you're doing. So now I found that not only will clients be happier while they're exercising because you're releasing all these hormones into their system, you're reducing the amount of impact that their body's experiencing while doing the same exercises they would be doing on the ground. And the best part of this is that you recruit more muscle tissue while on this platform because you have to stabilize every movement. So anywhere to 20 to 30% more muscle recruitment doing the exact same exercises. So there was a study done that shows that 12 minutes on the jump sport trampoline was equivalent of 20 minutes of running on a treadmill, right? So you got into your target zone quicker, you recovered faster. So I don't know about you, but time is of the essence for me. And in general, if I can find something that's much more efficient at giving me a result in something I'm doing, I'm happy to do it. So I figured if I had 20 minutes to get, then I'd get basically 40 minutes of exercise benefit using this platform over some traditional methods like Stairmasters and treadmills, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm reducing impact based on all of that.
Yeah, no, it's funny, like all those benefits, what you just say, like when I was doing, like I was actually, we were doing it in a trampoline park, kind of like with big trampolines, not with those smaller ones, but exactly those same benefits. Like it looks like easy workout, but it's a lot harder than most people can even imagine. And then they were like, when people were coming after workout, that you are just jumping. I said that it's kind of same thing, that you are jumping, but because you don't have basically your rest is you are still jumping, you are still doing something. If you are going for a run, you take a rest, you walk, or you don't do nothing. And on a trampoline, you are all the time, you keep moving, and it's because it's possible to do, because it's like you said, it's low impact for all your joints. It's a lot of fun. It's totally different because you are able to actually jump a lot higher than doing in a same workout on a hard floor or something. So I love to hear like that it's coming, like you have actually even some studies supporting those, like what I saw also in my workouts. So what are the basic principles of trampoline training? Like how, if somebody who is new, who have never tried a trampoline, what you would say, what are basic principles?
Well, let's just start with something very simple. Most everybody wants to improve their health when they exercise, right? That's one of the main things I've heard for 30 years. People say, yeah, I want to be more healthy. And that means something different to everybody. But if you look at it from an internal standpoint, and let's talk about some science. So your lymphatic system, which is basically the garbage man in your body that takes all the toxins out and it flushes it through your system and takes it to where it needs to go to be taken out of your body, right? So the trampoline creates gravity, exponential gravity. And there's two forces that move your lymphatic system through your body, right? There's movement, and then there's gravity. So you're walking around with one atmosphere, otherwise you would float away into space, right? So Earth has its own gravity. So there's a natural gravity. But if we can increase gravity, and I don't know of too many things that can do that unless you're a jet fighter pilot and you're, pulling G's and turns and dives. And some of that's negative force and positive force. But truthfully, there was a study done by NASA that shows that increasing gravity is going to move your lymph system. And one of the beautiful things about using the jump sport trampoline is that it creates a similar effect as to that study. So it's not exactly the same because that was done on a big trampoline and this is a smaller one. That big competitive trampoline or the trampolines that they use can generate up to 7 Gs of force at the bottom of a stroke, which is why you compress and then you go to zero gravity. And that creates a natural pump. That pumping action is instrumental in moving lymph through your system so that you can remove toxins from your body. Okay. The beautiful thing about the jump sport trampoline is we can create up to about 4 Gs of force because it's a very similar process. And if you bounce on one of our trampolines for just 10 minutes a day in some capacity, you will have moved your lymph 15 times more effectively through your system.
Wow.
So 10 minutes on this trampoline will give you 15 times more benefit for lymphatic flow.
Wow.
Okay, so there's that. Secondly, by doing what we call the health bounce, where you never ever leave the surface of the trampoline at all, right? So your feet never leave it. You just press down, you come up, you come to about where you feel weightless for just a moment, and then you push again, right? So you're never leaving the surface of the trampoline. That's called a health bounce. And you're basically just push, push, push gently on the trampoline. The result of that is that you engage your pelvic floor, which is really important for men and women. Well, women probably more so than men, but men as well, because your pelvic floor is what holds your bladder and your prostate and a bunch of other things in place. So for women, that's why sometimes after having babies or some other issues that may go on in life, when just getting older, their floor starts to become weak. The trampoline will be instrumental in rebuilding the strength of that pelvic floor to help them be less prone to incontinence or other issues based around that. And on the man side, that's what holds your prostate in place. So if you get old enough, you know, as a man, eventually you will get prostate cancer if you live long enough. The point of this is that if we can hold your prostate in place more effectively, it won't get beat around, it won't get all swollen. And for the most part, you're going to live a longer life without having any kind of prostate issues. So there's 2 more benefits when it comes to just basic health. And like I said, to get started on this, you can start with a basic health bounce, 10 minutes a day. Not only is it going to improve your pelvic floor, you're going to get core engagement, but you're also going to move a lot of lymphatics through your lymphatic system and be able to be a much more healthy person, because if you don't have all those toxins in your body, your immune system is more effective. And so all of these things will benefit you in the long run in just having a better day. Now, that being said, I told you earlier that if you're on there on the trampoline for 10 minutes, you're going to release a bunch of hormones that are going to make you more joyful. So oxytocin and serotonin are really important in terms of you maintaining a happy, upbeat, kind of a mindset. And just on that level, 10 minutes is going to do all of those things for you. And that's a great place to start. So that it just makes it really easy. We do have accessories that allow somebody who doesn't feel very comfortable. We have a handlebar. You get on there. It's very stable. It gives you an environment where you feel safe, and you'll be able to experience this whole process from the very beginning, from the very most deconditioned person can start on the trampoline by just walking. They don't even have to bounce. They can just walk. Right. And they don't even have to leave the trampoline surface. They could just lift their heels and alternate back and forth. So it can be a very simple exercise or movement that'll allow them to get their fitness journey started.
No, because I can only agree. All those benefits, like it's when you see those faces after workout, it's like there's so many mental benefits, and it makes it something like what is it's a very hard workout, but most people don't feel it that hard, that it feels that because it makes you kind of happy when you are jumping and bouncing, and while having fun, you just kind of reach your limits without actually even noticing it.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about that. So we talked about the beginner athlete, right? And so a lot of people are a little put off. They're like, oh, that's just, for cardio, or that's for whatever. And sometimes even men, especially men, will be like, that's not, I lift weights and I do this. And I say, okay, I'll tell you what, why don't you stand on that platform? Because that's what it is. It's a very stable platform that creates an unstable environment. I said, I want you to take your same weights that you do on the ground, where you don't have to engage your core and you don't have to do anything really. And you can be very lazy and lift weights on the ground, because I've done it. I've been paying attention to watching a game and lifting weights and not focused on your workout. The problem is, on the trampoline, you cannot do that. So I encourage people to go ahead and do their traditional programming on top of this platform, and it will exponentially increase the amount of muscle tissue that you're recruiting. And you will see a much more effective workout because you have to focus or you will fall off of it. Like if you don't stabilize yourself, that platform is going to force you to focus on traditional exercises that you would normally do. And that on the ground, you can, like I said, be fairly lazy when it comes to certain things. I'm not saying that everybody is. I'm saying that as a result, most people operate in thirds, right? A third of the time they do an average workout. It's normal. It's average. A third of the time they do an amazing workout. They feel great. And a third of the time, let's be truthful, we have a crappy workout. We did it, and there's no such thing as a crappy workout, but it's less than average. It wasn't your best. You kind of got through it. You weren't really focused. You were concentrating on 20 other things. But that's how people actually operate, a rule of thirds when it comes to pretty much anything, but mostly when you're working out.
Yeah.
So the trampoline doesn't allow you to fall into that average, below average category because it forces you to focus. And that's an incredible tool to have at your disposal to make sure that you stay on track when you're with your fitness journey.
So yeah, it's so true. Just what you would tell to someone who is not familiar, like that? How does a typical trampoline workout look like?
Well, I would really love to say
you talked about the strength. You talked about like a little bit of that jumping, bouncing thing. But how if you do a typical workout, what kind of elements now it looks like?
Look, you can, here's the beautiful thing about this. This is more, if you look at the trampoline as more of a platform, at least the jump sport as a platform, you can do pretty much any type of workout. So if you say you like to do cardio and you really like to do dancey kind of movement, put on some music, put your headphones on. It can be done in a class situation. It can be done at home. You don't need to have any kind of structure to it. You just move, right? You put on your headphones and you just move and dance and bounce and thing on the trampoline for, 30, 40 minutes, get your cardio in. It can be low, medium, moderate, high intensity, whatever works for you. They could do a traditional, cardiovascular workout instead of a treadmill or like I told you, it's going to be a more effective cardiovascular workout. So whatever you decide to do, and it can be, like I said, it can be aerobics, it can be anaerobic, it can be HIIT training. It could be any of those modalities can be done on this platform, which makes it very convenient for just about anybody so that you don't get bored and you can always do something new and creative. So that's your cardiovascular, and that allows you a lot of different options to do cardio, right? Secondly, we talked a little bit about strength training. So you can do any kind of traditional strength training on the platform. It's a great way to increase your body's awareness of stability and balance while doing strength training exercises, whether it be bands, kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, can all be done on that platform. As long as it can be done in the same space on the ground, it can be done on here. It's going to be far more challenging, and it's going to recruit way more muscle tissue during this process. So you're going to get more benefits out of the process. Plus, it will keep you more focused in it. Lastly, it's a great platform for balance, stretching. It's a very forgiving thing. It's easy to lay on. All of your prone exercises are easy to do. So if you're a big fan of doing core exercises or rotation stuff, Russian twists, crunches, leg whips, any of that kind of stuff that people is very popular in fitness because, you got to work your abs, right? But really it's your core is really instrumental in all of this. And this platform allows you to get so much more benefit from any traditional core workouts that you do.
Yeah, right? That is exactly what I recognized also when you do, even it's the same exercise, like probably I would not recommend starting to do like a heavy squats on a trampoline. That's probably something what I wouldn't do. But if you do like a kind of endurance form of exercises and doing it a different platform, like for example, some traditional ab exercises or using some bands or something, it gives such a different element when you, like you said, that you gotta stabilize your core and you use it basically on a trampoline. When you are bouncing, you need to stabilize your pelvic and your abs all the time to be able to jump.
Right. So one of the things you talked about, not doing heavy squats, and I agree with you. You wouldn't want to jump up there with 300 pounds on your back because you have to step up on the platform to start. But here's what I would do. I don't know if you believe in supersetting or like combining leg exercise movements. So you do your heavy squats on the ground and you go from a very stable platform to you put them into an unstable environment where they now have to stabilize after pre-exhausting that muscle and have them do, say, sumo goblet squats with kettlebells to supplement the heavy squats that you did on the thing. So it gives you an option to increase the intensity of people's traditional workouts by incorporating this platform.
Yeah, and what is your thought on, like, let's say, because I'm with some kind of athletes like who, let's say that they are doing some heavy squats, and then to keep that strength kind of fast, they are doing, like, could be doing some fast jumps right after your heavy squats. If you would do them instead of on a hard platform on a trampoline.
Well, again, you're going to get into your target zone quicker. They're going to work much harder. Think about this. It's the only thing I can equate it to is like running in sand. So let's say they do their heavy squats and then you have them do sprints or squat jumps or some other plyometric exercise that goes from basic strength training to an anaerobic all-out kind of an expenditure to challenge them to that, to dig deep into like muscle recruitment. Like a lot of times you won't recruit certain muscle tissue because you never get to a point where your body needs it. But when you're pre-exhausting muscle, like doing heavy squats and then taking you into a secondary exercise, the trampoline is going to be more effective at getting you there quicker, having less impact on your body. Remember, you just loaded your whole body under compression with a heavy squat load. The last thing I want to do is now beat those same joints on the ground. Yeah. So doing it on this platform is going to be very forgiving in terms of the impact on your body, but yet just as challenging because you're going to have to decelerate all of that energy that you're putting into while you compress that trampoline. That energy has to go somewhere, and you're the person that has to stop it. So that's the beauty of it. You get all the muscular benefits and very little of the impact that you would experience on the ground.
So then other question, what I got pretty often was that, like you mentioned earlier about the benefits of pelvic floor and strengthening that muscle. It's both, but especially for women, like for women who are, let's say that you have just give a birth, when it's safe to exercise on trampoline.
Okay, so I'm always going to err on the side of certainly as soon as your doctor releases you to do light to moderate exercise is when you can start doing any kind of workouts. As long as they release you to do exercise in general, the trampoline is a safe and effective platform to be able to do any exercise. Like I said, it's going to be far more beneficial in terms of helping you recover from that because it's very specific to your pelvic floor, right? So I had it explained to me once that when you're born, your pelvic floor is like a trampoline. So it's nice and flat and taut, right? And whether it's childbirth or sitting in a chair or inactivity or whatever the reason that you have some, your pelvic floor starts to, become weak, it becomes more like a hammock. So it becomes this like kind of a scoopy little hammocky thing. And being on the trampoline and doing those presses down into it in a health bounce is going to help return that pelvic floor to its original taut, tight trampoline type of existence. And so, like I said, when you can start after something like this, whether it be an injury or pregnancy or whatever, really depends on when your doctor says it's okay for you to return to exercise. And at that point, trampoline workouts are a very safe and effective platform to actually do your workouts because, like I said, they're far more forgiving on the impact, which is going to be better on somebody's body who is slightly deconditioned or has just gone through, a pregnancy or a birth. So it's far more forgiving in the short term, but it's also recruiting more muscle tissue and helping you to recover much quicker from this process.
And on the opposite, is there someone who you would not recommend, like a pregnant women who you would say that, okay, it's better to stay away from trampoline at this point?
Well, here's what I tell people. First of all, you never want to start an exercise program that you if you weren't doing it before you got pregnant, it's not a good idea to do it regardless of what kind of program it is. It doesn't matter if it's strength training or cardio, trampoline, any of that. If you haven't already been doing it, it's probably not a good idea to just start it because you got pregnant and you don't want to gain weight or whatever the deal is. So that's really important to understand. As far as trampolines go, I've had people who were trampoline instructors who exercise on their trampoline into their third trimester. Now, me personally, I would not recommend any kind of bouncing on somebody who's pregnant as a professional in the third trimester, because your body's releasing a lot of hormones that allow it to be very elastic so that the birth canal can open, your hips can spread, the baby can come out. And in that time period, you would put a lot of pressure on your pelvic area in general, because your connective tissue is supposed to be elastic for a reason. So having a big heavy weight pounding down on your pelvic area while that's going on is not, I wouldn't recommend that to my clients. Now, I have seen people do it into their third trimester, no problem. But they had been doing it for years already. They were very conditioned human beings to start with. So again, this is one of those, consult your physician. But I would say trampoline exercise for pregnant women, into your third trimester would be where I would draw the line as far as that goes.
That makes totally sense, and I totally agree with you. What about then people who would benefit, like who are particularly benefiting of doing trampoline training? Like what is your take on that kind of group? Like what you would recommend that is a great kind of for that kind of people?
So I'm not sure that I completely understand that.
Like just if there is some like a group of people who you would say that who would particularly benefit of trampoline training.
Okay, so me personally, I think children from 2 to 102 can benefit from trampoline training. So I think there's something for everybody. We have kids programming. I mean, I've trained people from, kids as young as, I want to say middle school. We have programs for kids in middle school. Now, I've had kids younger than that, obviously, on there, but nothing structured. It's just more of a fun thing that they don't really realize they're exercising. And I've used this product for people like weekend warriors, housewives trying to recover post injury. Seniors. They love the handlebar and it's soft and it's easy on their body and doesn't hurt their joints. And so they feel very good. So there is no real sweet spot. I know that a lot of people say like 25 to 50 is really where the vast majority of our people that we see using the product regularly are. So I would say that, depending on your needs, this platform is really instrumental in helping you as a tool, right? If you think of every tool you have at the gym, whether it be a dumbbell or a rubber band or a loop band or jump rope, there's all just tools. Now, how versatile those tools are is really the question. What I find with the Jump Sport is it is a multifunctional exercise platform that allows you to do all kinds of exercises in all kinds of situations. So there isn't one demographic that really benefits more than the others. I think that if you just like to exercise and you like having fun, then this is the kind of product that you would want to be on. I know you and I agree on this. Trampolines are something that just, when I get done working out on my trampoline, I feel like I got a great workout, but I feel like I could do it again tomorrow, right? I had so much fun and I'm tired, but I'm like, hey, my body feels so good. I want to work out tomorrow. And the beautiful thing about this is that you can, because you're not beating yourself up.
Yeah. And this is because I love that you tell it like that. Obviously it's not that, but what I recognized that what was the most beneficial, like obviously there is like those who are still kind of kids, obviously benefit. But what I saw when I was doing workouts, like that most people who I got like most like that, obviously most of the benefits were positive. There were some people who said, now jumping, it was nothing for me, but from most what I got positive feedback was with overweight people. And the reason was for that because they said that they were able to do things that they were never ever been able to do, and that is it was not hurting their knees. It was for joints was a lot easier on their joints, and they actually had a really hard workout while having fun, and they felt like that this I can be doing more often. Obviously they were exhausted, especially not doing the workout. Then evening after or day after, they were a lot hungrier than usually. Obviously they burned probably a lot more calories than they could even imagine. But it was something that it was what I got from feedback, that it was not exhausting, like that they have tried to go for running or doing some other exercises, but that it was just sticking with consistent. It was, first of all, it was not hard. It was not easy to do. Then everything was, joints were hurting. And with the trampoline, all those things were not there. And it was something that you wanted to do, they wanted to do, but they were never able to do it. And now this platform Trampoline gave them possibility to do, actually jump and be like do that kind of workout.
Well, to touch on that a little bit, I found the exact same thing with some of my clients. But remember, because they're over fat or overweight on some level, they're increasing the amount of impact that happens to their joints when they do ground-based exercises. So that's why you're getting that feedback in general to start about that. And again, that lends to the non-impactive nature of the platform. Secondly, there's a fun factor in this. So somebody who is overthink probably doesn't feel really good about themselves and their body, their body's self-image and seeing. And so if you're increasing their happy hormones, it's going to make them more apt to want to continue to do this. And if they can do it consistently, as you know, consistency is a real key to all of this, they're going to see results. And as a result of that, they're going to be more determined and they're going to be more apt to want to continue to do this. So yeah, special needs groups, also rehabilitation, somebody coming back from an injury who gained a little weight because they can't work out at all. Love this because now you're giving them a vehicle by which they can actually exercise. So I agree with you 100% that demographic in general, I don't know if it benefits them more, but it certainly seems to be more beneficial to them overall because of all of the things that we've talked about before.
Yeah. So I want to touch a little bit about mental health. Is there any studies or research that are telling about those mental health benefits of trampoline exercises that you are aware of?
Well, I would love to say that there's big studies out there. The only things that was out there was NASA did some studies about bone density. I know that there was a doctor in Germany that actually tested the effectiveness of trampolines on the pelvic floor. So there is information pertaining to all of that. All I'm going to tell you is when the director of their special needs program at UCLA Medical Center in California uses the product because it brings joy to all of her auditory challenged clients. I don't need much more, I don't need science to tell me when you get on the trampoline, I see you smile. I challenge anybody to do a workout on the trampoline and not smile. So that's the only, I can't give you any science because nobody wants to go out and study like the release of serotonin and I think there is probably a couple that talk about oxytocin and maybe a little serotonin. I would have to do some digging to find it for you, but they're very rare. There's not a lot of science that wants to get put into a fitness trampoline. The only science that really is out there is done on a big trampoline, and it was done because NASA was looking for a way to figure out if they could rehab their astronauts after being in space and get better bone density without a lot of impact, because you're in a very fragile state when you start to lose bone density, right? But now how do I build it back up? How do I put them under load without then causing stress fractures and all kinds of other problems? So that's the real science, I think, that was out there. And I'll provide you with some links that you can go and read those studies yourself and understand that there's an extrapolatory component to this, because it wasn't done specifically on the jump sport trampoline. It was done on a backyard trampoline, but it does cross over to some extent. So people get a better understanding of the science behind it. Look, we tested with an accelerometer that shows that the impactive nature of a cord-based program over a spring base was 50% reduction in impact. So it's greater on the ground. I don't have any science. I didn't test it to the ground, but based on a spring-based trampoline compared to the jump sport trampoline, it reduces impact by 50%. Wow. And so that is science. And I do know that that is the case. Mm-hmm. And again, there's lots of science that has to do with lymphatic flow. So you can look up anything. And there's, like I said, there's 2 reasons that your lymph moves through your system: gravity and movement. Mm-hmm. And the jump sport trampoline can increase gravity up to 4 times, which allows you with just 10 minutes a day to increase your lymphatic flow by 15 times. Mm-hmm. And I'll see if I can't make sure that I find that study that gives you that information as well, and how they came about that. But look, there's lots of information about lymphatic flow, and I don't want to get into that about this, but the trampoline is a great vehicle by which to detoxify your body. Okay. And that's for sure what I know scientifically that exists out there for you. I can tell you from years of experience of watching people turn their life around, testimonials, people who write me and call me every day to say, "You changed my life. I had postpartum depression. I used your trampoline. It turned my life around. I was overweight, couldn't lose weight, was very sad and depressed. I started using the trampoline. It turned my life around." So I hear it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, where people come to me and send me messages, letting me know and thanking me for bringing to them this magical tool that allowed them to recapture their life.
Yeah, no, because it's something like that. This is just trampoline is such a great tool to use, especially for someone, like, at least to try it, give it a shot, and see it, like, because obviously all people probably if you have some like kind of balance issues or you don't like in general bouncing or having some fun workout, probably it's not the right tool, but try it before you tell that it's nothing for me. Because I gotta say, I was personally surprised, and most of the people, like, I would say that over 90%, even 95%, who came to trampoline to try it, they absolutely loved it. And obviously there is always, you can't everything, it's not for everyone, but for most people it was just, and they couldn't believe it, how effective and how much fun it was actually doing it. And once you find something what makes fun, is effective, and helps you to stay consistent, you probably have found the key for your health and exercise routine, what you could be doing.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. And again, I just want to speak a little bit about, people think of the trampoline as a very specific tool for a very specific thing, what, cardio or whatever. With the jump sport product, it's actually, you can stack it and it's usable stacked. Mm-hmm. So if you have multiple trampolines, you can stack them and they become a jump box. Mm-hmm. We have accessories that turn it into a rebounder where you can throw things at it. You can jump on and off of it. So there's a myriad of different ways to use this product as a training tool outside of what people traditionally think of a trampoline, which is just bounce up and down, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, it's a great balance tool. Never leaving the surface, just standing there and holding your balance, mm-hmm. lifting one knee, reaching out to the side, bending forward, like just trying to hold your balance without falling off in that dynamic, unstable situation is really imperative. And then knowing that the platform itself is very stable because it's got a curved leg design, which keeps it the usability so that you can work not only on the surface, the jumping surface, but actually the frame is actually usable as part of your program. So if you want something a little bit more stable, but you're going to want to decrease gravity a little bit because you're a foot off the ground, you can use the frame of the trampoline to do other exercises, dips, push-ups, calisthenic type of things, step-ups. And you're not going to worry that the trampoline is going to tip over on you. Mm-hmm. And that's very specific to the jump sport trampoline.
So what kind of trampoline equipment would you recommend for beginners?
Well, look, if you just start with a trampoline, and if you don't feel comfortable being on there, a handlebar, which will allow you to have like a little bit of a stability safety thing that you feel comfortable. Very light hand weights, rubber band, like any kind of elastic bands that you can hook to the frame of the trampoline and do basic strength training exercises. That's more than enough, combined with full body weight exercises to be able to give you a great full body workout where you can hit all the components of your program. Stretching, balance, strength training, cardiovascular can all be done on this platform with very minimal equipment, just a trampoline, a handlebar, and maybe some light resistance of any kind.
And is there any like obviously those are all kind of exercises. Is there any like specific exercises or beginner friendly exercises to what you could get started? Or like you talked earlier, like a 10-minute workout, if there is, you have some kind of to go video exercise tutorials or something where to get started.
Well, the good news is there are literally thousands of workouts available on the trampoline now. It's a very popular method to exercise. So just through us, if you go to our YouTube channel at Jump Sport Fitness, there are a lot of beginner workouts. There's balance work, there's 10-minute workouts, there's cardiovascular, there's strength training with and without the handlebar. So there's lots of free options to be able to go ahead and be able to figure out what to do. So if you get a trampoline and you're not really sure how to start, there's lots of stuff available online for you to be able to do. One of the things we do is we include 60 days of free programming with every purchase of a trampoline. So if you get one, you're going to get access to about 200 different kinds of workouts that are at your fingertips so that you can kind of explore and find out the things you like or don't like. Because like you said, not every workout is for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so some people may just want to use the trampoline as a place to stretch. They may not even use it to work out on it. They might think it's just really great and comfortable to be able to do all their stretching exercises. So it really serves a purpose for a wide variety of people. And like I said, there are thousands of workouts available for no charge on the internet that'll give you a place to start. But if you go to our Jump Sport Fitness YouTube channel, there's a great library of free workouts to get you started.
Awesome. So is there anything else where people can find internet, anything you want to share where people can get their first trampoline workouts? You mentioned about the YouTube channel. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up this episode?
Well, look, I'm going to try to get you guys all of the links so that you can put this in your show notes. But, if you go to jumpsport.com/fitness, and we have links in there as well that'll give you information about all the benefits of trampolines, whether it be for health or for fitness or for cardio or for strength training. Like there's a plethora of information that's available there. And like I said, I'm going to provide you with more links so that people can do their own research. And I hope whatever they decide to do, that they find their way to a healthy, fit lifestyle. And I pray that the trampoline is part of that experience.
I hope it too, or at least give it a shot. It's not if it's not something for you, but if you are someone who is struggling to find something to stay consistent while having some fun in their fitness, trampoline was a game changer for me. Even unfortunately, at the moment, I had to stop doing those courses. I have been missing them, but it was a game changer, and would love to have opportunity to do it again in the near future. So thank you, Steve, for being in the show, and thank you for listening, and hope to talk to you soon. I will put all links to show notes, and talk to you soon.
Thank you very much for having me. Hope to see you again.
Hold up, friend. Do you love FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast? If so, the best way to say thank you is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes. I know every podcaster wants you to leave a review, but it's because those reviews help the podcast to reach more people. I truly want to know what you think, and if this particular episode resonated with you, would you also please share it? Either send a link to someone who you think will find it valuable, or take a screenshot and post it into your social media and tell your friends and family why they should listen it. Make sure you tag me so I can hear your feedback and give you a little love. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram or TikTok, that's the perfect time to hit that follow button. Thank you for being here and listening to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast.